Lucky you.
36 best
Tuned
holes in
into
golf.
Alternate Shots podcast,
Barney's Army.
where we talk about golf,
Sandy.
poker,
James Bond.
horse racing,
Double.
classic movies.
Zenyatta.
We have no script.
Down the stretch they come.
We are glad you joined us.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
If you like our content, we ask you to please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon. You'll be aware of all the new episodes that come onto the channel. Billy Regan, it is almost the eve of the famous Travers Stakes coming up in Saratoga, and we're looking from above like we're in a drone or on a Pelican at the Saratoga racetrack. What do we got going this weekend on Saturday?
Hopefully we'll be floating on air after cashing big tickets and seeing the same view. But Saturday is the Travers Stakes for 3-year-olds. They call it the Summer Derby. The Triple Crown is over. The Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont Stakes have all been decided. And ironically, all this year, all those 3 races were won by 3 different horses. And they're all 3 facing each other in this Summer Derby in the Travers on Saturday.
We're on this drone. What the heck are we looking at? I've never been to Saratoga. You have. I know this is a fan favorite from Mo Della Porta, the legendary almost 70-year employee at Wingfoot. He used to go up there in the summers. Tell us the things that you remember about the track as if you were there last week.
Well, the track is 1.1 miles. For instance, the Belmont track is 1.5 miles, so it's a smaller track. This race that they're running on Saturday will be running at 1.25 miles, so it'll start back in the stretch and go whoop all the way around plus 1/8 of a mile. You see the pond in the middle there of the picture. In that pond, there's a canoe, and each year it gets painted in the colors of the Travers winner. There has been times when it was attempted to be stolen or guys went in to try and paint different stuff. So they've secured it. It's a historical piece, but that's just one of the, wonderful traditions of Saratoga over the years. Well, their colors, they paint the canoe, the colors of that stable.
British Open trophy for a year or the PGA
right.
Trophy. Yeah.
There used to be a 28-day meeting up there, very high class courses. Now it's turned into 6 weeks and it's become much more popular and much more crowded. And like a lot of things in life, it lost some of its charm, but it still has, a lot of tradition and a lot of meaning. And this race, more than any race that ever runs at Saratoga, the Travers is the most important race of the season up there. And like I was saying, for the first time that I know of, 3 Triple Crown horses, winners, not that they won the Triple Crown, the Belmont Stakes winner, the Preakness Stakes winner, the Kentucky Derby winner, all 3 different horses are facing off against each other in this Travers, and not one of them will be the favorite. The favorite will be, once again, Forte, who has been the favorite in probably 7 of the 10 or 12 races that he's run. He's run 9 races. He's been the favorite 6 times out of 9 races. And he won the times he wasn't the favorite. So he's going to be the favorite. Everybody likes him. He has a win over Saratoga in the Jim Dandy on a sloppy track at 1.1 miles. This is going to be 1.25 miles, so he's going to go a little longer, the Derby distance. But he'll be favored. And he'll be trying to come from behind. He's going to have to beat the number 2 horse, Arcangelo, who just won the Belmont Stakes at 1.5 miles for his 3rd straight victory. He's looking for his 4th straight victory. In my opinion, I think this might be the horse to beat. I'm not going to be alone in that. Next to Archangel, he'll also be coming from behind, is Tapit Trice, who's a long shot trained by Todd Pletcher, who also trains Forte. He's in with a shot, but he's going to come from off the pace. If the race falls apart, maybe he'll pick up some of the pieces. I doubt he'll win. Then there's Mage, who has lost to National Treasure once and Forte twice, but he did win the Kentucky Derby. He gets another jockey. He gets Luis Saez back on him. Castellano rode him the last 3 races. I don't think he's going to win, but you can never discard the Kentucky Derby winner. Then we get to National Treasure, the Bob Baffert Speedball, who will try and win this race from wire to wire. Maybe yes, maybe no. He seems to be the real speed of the race, so if no one challenges him, he could be a problem. But that was also true in the Belmont, and he faded to 6th at 1.5 miles. I don't know that he wants this distance. He did win the Preakness at 1 mile and 3/16 on the front end. He held on by a head over Blazing Sevens and Mage closing in on him. He's a live shot because he's Baffert, who always is live, and he's a front runner, which is always good. If no one runs with him, he could be a problem. The next horse is interesting, Disarm, traded by Steve Asmussen, the world's winningest trainer of all time. He's got more wins than he runs all over the place, all different tracks. Got a great jockey, Jose Rosario, on him. He's got a shot. He's got some big numbers, and they've been getting better. His last 3 races, although they were 4th, 1st, and 4th, were pretty big numbers. But he lost to Forte and Mage in the 2 losses. He's got a long shot chance. And then we have a newcomer named Scotland, who's trained by William Mott, who has a 15% win percentage up at Saratoga. This horse has 4 races. He's also got speed. He came in second once. He won the other 3 races. His numbers are also getting better all the time. They call Saratoga the graveyard of favorites. And that's quite possibly going to be true here, but this horse has to beat a lot of pretty good horses to upset this field. What's ironic about this field is that I think Arcangelo has beaten both. He's beaten Forte. Forte has lost to Arcangelo. Arcangelo is the only horse in the race who hasn't lost to these Triple Crown horses, except for the guys who didn't run in it, like Scotland. Scotland hasn't faced these horses before.
Arcangelo did not run in the Derby, nor didn't run in the Preakness, correct?
He did not.
We were talking about that. We were all over Forte in the Derby, and then Forte was pulled out pretty quick.
And we didn't go to Mage like idiots.
We didn't go to Mage like we weren't listening to our own podcast.
But in fairness, that's in keeping with us being too doping out these races. My money will be on Arcangelo. The horse has proven he can win. He's proven he can win at a distance. He actually won the Belmont Stakes at 1.5 miles in pretty good time. Not ridiculous time, but easily. He won it easily. He drifted a little bit at the end, but he won easily. And his numbers have gone. There's a speed number. They call it the Beyer speed figure. Andy Beyer developed some kind of system that rates horses based on speed, class, and different things
for horses.
Well, and he assigns numbers to these races, to these horses. The higher the better. And if you're in the hundreds, that's pretty good. And Arcangelo has gone from first race to this race, 53 to 70 to 84 to 97 to 102. So he's just been getting, in Beyer's numbers, better and better and better. And like I say, the last 4 races he won, and he won them, pretty well. One of them by a head, but the other 2 were pretty easily. I think this is going to be a serious threat to Forte in the stretch. I think the 2 of them will be coming. I think Arcangelo will run sooner. He'll make an earlier move at trying to catch National Treasure, who I believe will have the lead, unless Scotland runs him into the ground. That could happen. We don't know about Scotland yet. He could be a lot better than we've seen. He's like I say, it's only his 5th race, and the horses tend to improve. He hasn't shown any weakness yet, so he's going to be interesting.
Why did she not enter Arcangelo in the Derby or the Preakness?
Because she is such a good trainer. She didn't think the horse was ready yet, and she prepped it for the Belmont, and then stole all the cookies. And just so I know there's a lot of hype about the woman trainer thing. Horse racing, like poker, the bettor doesn't care what color, what sex, or anything else the trainer is. And just to make it clear, this is not the first successful woman in horse racing. Linda Rice has been winning training titles in New York for years and years. She's a very successful trainer, and there are many others. For me, as a handicapper, I have never been deterred by a woman trainer for any reason whatsoever. I look at the horse, I look at the trainer's record, I look at the trainer's style. So Linda Rice is excellent about picking spots for her horses, so she trains at a high percentage. She's flirting with the title at Saratoga against Chad Brown, who's a monster trainer, Todd Pletcher, who's a monster trainer. So make no mistake about it, women are equal on every level in horse racing. The The big thing is you need the owners, the big time owners, to start giving them the big time horses. And Arcangela seems to be one of those right now. I really don't see a limit to this horse's success. She felt the horse was ready. She skipped the Derby and then ran in the Peter Pan on May 13th, which was a week after the Derby. And, she must have had the horse ready for that. And the horse won by a head in a decent time. Again,
he hasn't run the horse since the Belmont, right?
No, not since the Belmont. I mean, it's not common for a horse to be that good, but for a good horse to start winning and keep winning, this will not be the first time that's happened. In fact, Scotland might be another one just like that. Scotland has only run 4 races, first, second, first in that order, and getting better too. There's not enough information about Scotland yet to know if he can handle this level of horse. He hasn't faced any of this level yet. Not that he's been running against lousy horses, but he has not been running against Forte or National Treasure or Mage.
U.S. Open, the L.A. Country Club U.S. Open. We got Wyndham Clark. That could be your Scotland in this race, right?
Yeah, if he's coming into his own, which he well may be. Remember that this is the graveyard of favorites. Every year for decades, it's got a reputation, even going back to Affirmed and Alydar, where Alydar ended up winning the Travers, and they called it the Travers Stakes because there was a disqualification. There was all kinds of hanky-panky going on the racetrack with the jockeys riding Affirmed out. Lafitte Pincay cut over after Angel Cordero drove him to the outside. He cut over too soon and cut Alydar off, so they disqualified him. I think he was the best horse that day, but he did infringe on Alydar, his longtime rival. All sorts of stuff happens, and all kinds of prices have happened at Saratoga.
Do we have jockeys in this race that are like those that you just mentioned from the past, who are kind of like do anything to win type of jockeys?
We have one named Irad Ortiz, who's the leading jockey up there, a high percentage jockey. He wins 20% of the time up there this year. He will be the leading jockey there. He usually is. I don't want to say that he's let's just say he's a rough rider, and he's had to face the stewards for it more than once.
So this is kind of our chance to kind of plug in a golf angle here. You're a Zack Johnson here, and let's say it's Sunday and you've got to fill out these other 6 spots. You got 6 that are in, okay? Now you got to decide, these other 6 people that are going to play. Ricky Fowler and Justin Thomas.
Glover?
Yeah, so you got Lucas Glover, Ricky Fowler, and Justin Thomas, okay? And you've got 2 spots left to fill. Let's say the others are gone. And let's say you've already put in Brooks Koepka. Scotty Scheffler was interviewed, okay, after this last tournament. And he said, listen, guys, and they said, do you think Brooks Koepka should be on the team? And you know what he said? Very interesting. Now, he can't play in the PGA Tour events, which count money, which give you the automatic inclusion for the American team, right, on the FedEx Cup points.
Yeah.
That he was 30 points short. So that's $30,000. If he had played in one tour event this year, not the majors,
he would have to make the cut,
and he would have been an automatic pick. I think this guy Cantley birdied 17 and 18 to change things, and Koepka got pushed out from the top 6 to the 7th in the world ranking. So, all right, so let's assume Koepka's in there. Now you got 3 players left, and you're sitting there. It's getting late. The coffee pot's cold now, and your wife's saying, you got to go to bed. You got to get on a press announcement on Monday morning at 8:00 and come up with your team. Who are you picking? Lucas Glover, Justin Thomas, and Ricky Fowler.
I got to pick two of those.
This is your Sophie's choice.
Wow.
If you win, nobody's going to remember you made this pick. If you lose, they're going to say, Billy, you should have
stuck to the races and just lost my money there. I go with Ricky Fowler because I think Ricky has figured something out. I think Butch Harmon has helped him figure something out. I mean, he's not going to win all the time, but he can hit the ball and he can putt lights out. So I would pick Ricky Fowler just on the fact that I think he's on the rise. And Justin Thomas has just got a really good record in match play, doesn't he?
He's got the best. His match play record is enormous.
I think Justin Thomas would say, "Don't pick me" at this point, if he was being honest. So I would go with Fowler and Lucas Glover. Glover.
I mean, this guy Glover hasn't won all year. He's won of late, but he's a striker of the ball. And they say the guys talked to some of the European guys last week. They said it's important to hit greens at this golf course. I guess it's hard to get it up and down if you miss these greens. We'll find out during the Ryder Cup. Okay, not to be controversial, but I'm going to pick Justin Thomas and Fowler. I'm going to go down with the chalk. Not to say that Lucas Glover isn't great and so forth, and he just might make that team anyway. But
right.
He's hot now. 5 weeks from now until the gun goes.
Yeah, there's a lot can happen in your game.
All right, so let's go back to racing. We're in Saratoga, New York. Beautiful spot here. One thing I did notice on this picture, where does everybody park? I don't see any parking lots like at the horse race. There's parking lots in New York. It just looks like the Forest Hills, Queens, when they used to have the tennis tournaments there, and you parked in somebody's backyard.
Well, there is a lot of backyard parking, and Saratoga lives for this 2 months now. I mean, the restaurants boom, the town booms, and there is $10-20 per car in everybody's backyard within a square mile of the place. I fortunately have a very good friend, an old friend who lives a block from the track. I park at his driveway and walk across. He lives across from the National Racing Museum. I'll watch it from a bird's eye view with my computer. I won't be waiting online at the windows. But I've been to the Travers, 15 times, probably maybe 20. It's a great day. And not for nothing either, the other races that day are incredibly good. There's 5 or 6 really good stakes races that day with some really good horses. Elite Powers running, awesome sprinter. Echo Zulu's running, another awesome sprinter. This is going to be a good race. And then there's a 1.5-mile grass race with a bunch of turf horses. It'll be a big day up there. Graveyard of Favorites. And it got that name for a reason. Secretariat lost there. Secretariat might have lost there twice.
Let's come to the punchline here. I'm going to give you two bets that I don't want to go into all your bets. Give me who you think is going to win, and then what are the 3 horses that you would box for an exacta?
I'm going to play Arcangelo as of now, unless something changes. Like if it gets sloppy, I might rethink this because Forte seemed to really like the slop. So I would play Arcangelo to win, and then I would play him in exactas with Forte. That will pay nothing.
Right.
But here's where I'm going to throw you a curveball. I'm going to skip the other horses and go right to Disarm and put him in the exacta. Disarm's going to be a long shot, and he's under the radar. And he, like I said, he's trained by Steve Asmussen, the leading trainer of all time. And there's a reason for that, too. And he's got a real good jockey. I don't think Asmussen puts him in if he doesn't think he has a chance, and the horse's numbers give him a chance. He's lost to both Forte and Mage in the past, but that doesn't mean he's going to lose to them again. Scotland, I will probably include in a couple of daily doubles or something like that because I'm worried about him because he's the unknown. But I'm going to be focusing mostly on Arcangelo. And Arcangelo and Forte. Now, if that exacta pays more than $12, I'll probably hammer it, but I don't expect it will.
Okay, so you're going to go Arcangelo Forte with some variants, including Disarm. Would you have an Arcangelo Forte Scotland box?
Yep.
Yeah, because
those are. I'll probably box the 4 of them in a superfecta: Forte, Arcangelo, Scotland, and Disarm. My worry about Scotland is National Treasure. If Scotland goes for the lead and National Treasure goes for the lead, Baffert trains these horses to go up front. They work out fast and they run fast. But Scotland can run fast on the front end. He ran a 1:11 6 furlongs in a 1.125 race and won last time. National Treasure has not done that. National Treasure's win at a 1 3/16. He got away with a 1:13 2 6 furlongs. So Scotland might be faster. That's why I'm basically leaning towards a horse that'll come from behind, and I think Arcangelo will get the jump on Forte. I think we'll see the 2 of them ding dong and down the stretch, those two horses.
Could this be more exciting than the Belmont Stakes?
Yes. Yes, this is the best race of the year.
We had that benefit of seeing the other Triple Crown events, the Kentucky Derby, the Preakness, and the Belmont. Belmont was the one that was most interesting to me, but this one looks like it's going to be really, really fun. Bring your popcorn, huh?
Absolutely. And again, Forte, for different reasons, missed the Derby and missed the Preakness and ran a pretty good second in the Belmont, but he was well beaten by Arcangelo. He never threatened. And he got second, but he might have got second just because everybody else had shot their wad. And you know, he came from behind. He got a good buyer speed figure for the race. And he got a better buyer speed figure in his last race, the Jim Dandy at Saratoga. He's 2 for 3 at Saratoga. That horses for courses is true at Saratoga. So do not dismiss Forte lightly but you're not going to get any price on him.
All right.
So again, I say graveyard of favorites. I'm hoping that's true. I'm hoping Arcangelo wins this race.
Please subscribe to the podcast, Alternate Shots Podcast, if you like our content.
Yeah, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe. That's a misleading word, subscribe. But
seriously, you need to go take a look at the Tom Neaporti episode that rolled out this week too.
Yeah, and we're going to follow up with some more on Tom Neaporti
but there's some great swing analysis that a Class A head pro, John Neaporti, has done, showing you Tom Neaporti's self-made swing. As John Neaporti said, Tom, his father, never took a lesson. And his swing, by numbers of people, have been compared. Slamming Sammy Snead's swing, right?
Yeah, and Tom Neaporti was just such a great guy, a true gentleman.
He said he loved to have lunch with Tom Neaporti. At the end of lunch, Tom would say, "Hey, it's got to be somebody's birthday today. Let's have some cake."
Yep.
His Achilles heel was chocolate cake, and so he had cake every time.
He's welcome here. That's my Achilles heel. I love chocolate cake. In fact, I had a friend at Wingfoot the other day who said, "Are you still ordering chocolate cake after lunch every day?"
Good luck in the Travers, the 2023 Travers Stake at Saratoga. Get your bets in, and we'll see where we are next week when we catch up. Billy, this has been great.
Yeah, just remember, this is two dopes doping out the Travers. So, you know, it's your money. You do what you want with it, but don't blame me when you miss the bet on Arcangelo and he comes in. They call Saratoga the graveyard of favorites. And
thanks for joining us today.
Billy Harmon.
We really appreciate your
Double
feedback.
Indemnity.
And please subscribe to the show and hit the bell icon so you get notified.
Movie classics.
New episodes.
Mark Gable.
Hit them hard and hit them off.
Best 36 holes.